rare and balanced view on politics in today's world. Based on facts, born of rationality, common sense, and logic, providing context on today's events. This is American Perspective with Rick Thomas.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to American Perspective. I am your host, Rick. I just noticed my hat kind of blends in with the Constitution background that I have up. For those of you on the audio portion of the program, you really got to head over to rumble.com and check it out. Or you can, pick it up on YouTube or Facebook or X. But seriously, go to rumble.com and... Oh, yeah. It's Constitution Day, folks. 17th of September was the day that they signed the Constitution in 1787. We'll get to that in just a minute. But first, one big problem that I do have with having the smartest, most intelligent listening audience in all of the interwebs and interweb sphere is that I can never break anything that's brand new. You guys all freaking know about the news and upcoming events and everything else. It's just, it's amazing. Anyway, for those of you that may not have heard, ABC, breaking news, just broke. ABC News halts Jimmy Kimmel Live indefinitely because Jimmy Kimmel was a dumbass and said some bad things about Charlie Kirk. So, yeah. Anyway, ABC announced on Wednesday that it will indefinitely stop airing Jimmy Kimmel Live after the host made several remarks about conservative influencer Charlie Kirk's assassination. During one of his recent shows, Kimmel said, "We've hit some new lows over the weekend with the MAGA gang desperately trying to characterize this kid who murdered Charlie Kirk as anything other than one of them and doing everything they can to score political points for it." Well, it's been proven that, yeah, he was the left. He's a leftist. Yeah. And, scoring political points, no, we're just trying to show you stupid-ass idiots the mirror. Anyway, Next Star Media Group, Inc. said that it would stop airing the show on its 32 ABC affiliate stations, citing the comments that Kimmel made. Said, "Mr. Kimmel's comments about the death of Mr. Kirk are offensive and insensitive at a critical time in our national political discourse." That's Andrew Alford, president of Next Star's broadcasting division. So there you go. All right. Well, bye-bye, Jimmy. That's another one down of these Colbert and then this guy. Yeah, another one down. Anyway. ABC is also under fire because, just so you know, because this other dumbass reporter was reading the text comments between the shooter and his lover, that were released. And he was reading them as though it was, it's a love story between two people. Yeah. Yep. Anyway, it's boy, ABC News. They sit there and they wonder why all of a sudden they're under fire because of the fact that, well, they are literally dumbasses, every single one of them, and they're leftist, they're left-leaning, they are not journalists whatsoever. It's called journalisming. God, I had to say that one really slow, rather than actual journalism. Anyway, I digress. All right. Oh, yeah. Michael over on Facebook says, maybe we can get rid of the spew next, meaning the view. God, I hope so, because those ladies, those witches all around the cauldron need to get the hell out, too. Anyway, yeah, just, I agree with you, Michael. Just breaks my heart. No, it doesn't. I'm frankly glad that he's gone, along with everybody else that's losing their jobs over this. It just shows how sick the leftist lunatics are. All right, let's go ahead and get things kicked off. Tonight is Bonnie's turn. Bonnie's turn on the Pledge of Allegiance. So if you are of mine, please stand. Oh, and before I go any further, there was some questions last night in the chat with regards to the loss of Buddy Weiser, whether or not I was going to keep him in the rotation for the Pledge of Allegiance. He has earned his right to stay there. So we're just gonna end that conversation right there. He will forever stay in that order and where he is at. All right, as I was saying, please stand, remove your hat if you're wearing one like me, and place your hand over your heart and follow along with Bonnie as she recites the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. And I thank you, Bonnie, for sending us that version of the pledge. If you would like to hear your rendition played here on the program, all you need to do is record yourself performing the pledge in your style, whether it's an audio file, video file, whatever kind of file that you create. Make sure that you send it off to me, or share, as Buddy would always emphasize, share it to me by sending it to fans, F-A-N-S, at AmericanPerspective.online. That's fans, F-A-N-S, at AmericanPerspective.online, and I will get you into the rotation. I have 19 right now. I need 20. I need number 20, so I would appreciate if you would send it off to me as soon as you get the opportunity to. All right, tonight, of course, is that wonderful thing that we do every Wednesday.
Down to business.
That's the nectar of the gods, baby.
That's right, it's Whiskey Wednesday. It's like Taco Tuesday, but for badasses. And tonight, I'm kind of wimping out on you guys, only because it's kind of hot here. Up here in the Northwest, we generally will get some sort of what they call an Indian summer, okay? And, we'll have periods in September and October that will be hot. Tonight happens to be one of them, at least hot to me. I know it's not hot to my friends down in Texas or Florida, but because of that, I am drinking Crown Royal Blackberry in a blackberry lemonade. I'm trying to actually, drain the bottle, make room for another bottle. So, yeah. Anyway, so there it is. And let's go ahead and get the requisite first sip out of the way. All right. Oh, I think I made that a little too weak. It's actually a little more lemonade than it is Crown Blackberry. Yeah, I know. All right, let's go ahead and finish off this first thing. Yeah. First thing that I'm going off of. Let's see. Where? Oh, yes. Okay. So tonight, because it's Constitution Day, and I obviously skipped this yesterday, so we're probably going to end up with a twofer here today and tomorrow, but it's important anyway. But it's Constitution Day, so let's go ahead and do this. The Institute on the Constitution Institute on the Constitution was established in 2004 as a 501c3 nonprofit with one singular mission, that is to restore the constitutional republic through grassroots education. All courses and materials are developed using primary source documents and taught from the American view of law and government as defined in the Declaration of Independence in the following 3 key points. 1, there is a God. 2, our rights come from him. And 3, the purpose of civil government is to secure and protect our God-given rights. The IOTC offers the opportunity to educate yourself on our most precious founding document, the Constitution of the United States. They also provide tools to educate your community and get involved with local government. Start by taking their free U.S. Constitution course and go from there. Use my affiliate link, iotc.americanperspective.online, to sign up, and while you are there, take a moment to look through their other course material and information. My affiliate link, once again, is iotc.americanperspective.online to get great content to learn about our historical founding and support the show in the process. That's iotc.americanperspective.online. Or, if you just want to purchase this fabulous Saddleback leather-bound U.S. Constitution to support the show, go to constitution.americanperspective.online. According to 3 Chevy, each book purchased will cause a liberal talk show host to lose his or her job. I wish it were that easy. Anyway, let's take a look at this thing. It's got 1/8 of an inch of Saddleback leather wrapped around pages that are water and tear resistant, and it is stitched all the way through. No cheap glue here, folks. Goes all the way through the leather and the pages contained within. It's got a 100-year warranty against materials and manufacturing defects, such that if you have a problem, you can send it back to the manufacturer and they will either fix it or replace it for free. It is buddy tested. Buddy approved. Billy tasted, Billy approved. My youngest whiskey warrior has confirmed that the information contained within will help you study for your civics badge in scouting. Hey, it'll also help you with your civics exam, and it'll help you understand this great country that we call home. Just get one today. I lost my whole script, but anyway, grab one by going to constitution.americanperspective.online. Get yours today and learn about this fantastic foundational document that we have. And yes, all of the amendments are in numerical order. Go to constitution.americanperspective.online. And also, don't forget to go and check out the rest of the Institute on the Constitution's offerings. So, yeah, go and check it out. They've got a lot of fantastic stuff. And go and check them out today. And I appreciate allowing me to be an affiliate. Yeah, by the way, Institute on the Constitution, Heritage Foundation, and PragerU, those are like the 3 main sources for fantastic information on all kinds of stuff. I've been gathering a bunch of like PragerU videos. They do 5-minute videos on stuff. I've been gathering a bunch of those. I've been gathering information. I've got a new Heritage book coming from Heritage talking about the Constitution. It's the 3rd revision to discuss what actually is in the Constitution, not what isn't in the Constitution. Speaking of the Constitution, of course, today is Constitution Day. So I thought that what I would do is read to you tonight's entry, even though it's not technically not on this day in American history. I'm going to go ahead and fire it off anyway. So, on this day in American history. And, of course, for On This Day in American History, we read from the American Patriots Almanac, written by William J. Bennett and John T.E. Cribb. Chock full, see, of all kinds of interesting factoids about this wonderful nation. Well, tonight, we're going to talk about the signing of the Constitution, because that is what Constitution Day is about. September 17th, 1787 brought a world-changing event, the signing of the United States Constitution. The day dawned clear and chilly in Philadelphia, where delegates from the 13 states had spent a long, hot summer writing and debating the new Constitution for their young country. They assembled in Independence Hall and listened as their work was read aloud one last time. Then they heard an address from old Benjamin Franklin, who urged all of them to sign the document. Franklin was too frail to make his speech, so another delegate read it for him. 38 delegates filed forward to put their names on the bottom of the Constitution. George Washington signed George Washington signed first as president of the convention. The other delegates signed in geographical order from north to south, starting with New Hampshire and ending with Georgia. Franklin was helped forward from his seat, and it was reported that he wept as he signed. Their work done, the delegates closed the Constitutional Convention, and the document was then sent to the states to be ratified. In writing the Constitution, the Founding Fathers launched a daring experiment. The idea that a free people could begin a new country by designing their own government and writing down the laws and principles they would follow had never been tried before. The Constitution has guaranteed freedom, equality, opportunity, and justice to hundreds of millions of people. It is the oldest written constitution still in effect and has become a model for nations around the world. It is, as Great Britain's Prime Minister William Gladstone called it, the most wonderful work ever struck off at a given time by the brain and purpose of man. And that is today's On This Day in American History. Folks, I don't think anybody really understands, or maybe they do now, the impact, the impact of this particular event, of the creation of a government that is made up by the people, of the people, and for the people. I don't think that anybody truly understands what has been done here. And I'm fairly sure that these past couple of weeks are going to be, impactful as well. All right, folks, let's just get right into it. There was original reports that the shooter of Charlie Kirk was some 70-year-old guy, and there were pictures that were sent around on the internet and in social media of this guy, this older fella, being handcuffed and having a bunch of people surrounding him and everything else. And the police reportedly questioned him and then released him. Well, it turns out that the reason why they grabbed him is because of the fact that he falsely confessed to it. He falsely confessed to, and I'm not going to say the guy's name, but he's 71 years old. He has a rap sheet, apparently, of interrupting events like the TPUSA event that was there. But anyway, he apparently falsely confessed to the assassination. His reasoning for that, by the way, was to slow down finding the actual shooter. Now, there's no indication as to whether or not this individual and the shooter had any kind of connection at all, but he was attempting to create the distraction for the real gunman to get away. Now, during the investigation, they confiscated his phone, and it turns out the sick bastard had child pornography on it. So they looked at his phone, they took his phone, they analyzed it, and they found child pornography on his phone. Yeah. What a sick bastard. Anyway, he, once he made it to the police station. So first of all, he told everybody, he's like, I shot him, now shoot me. And then he was taken into custody and so on and so forth. He continued to insist that he was the shooter. But then investigators determined that his confession was fabricated. He, the 71-year-old dumbass, later acknowledged that he wanted to be a martyr. Then once he got to the police station, he kept saying, I am already going to be in trouble for saying I shot him, even if I did not. Like I said, he has a history of disrupting political events and some other prior criminal charges. Past offenses include a 2013 bomb threat at the Salt Lake City Marathon. So, yeah. He apparently had images of underage girls that investigators found on his phone. And he reportedly confessed to being, quote, sexually aroused by children. Folks, we are in a really sick period of time and world. Well, moving on from that, those news. But anyway, moving on from there, the left keeps talking about how, no, this is both sides. This is both sides. You know, political violence is coming from both sides. No, it's not. And by the way, Senator Eric Schmidt, yeah, he took care of it. If anybody says that it's both sides, all you have to do is grab this video and the short little clip, and you can you can find it, grab it, and yep, you'll be able to play it. Here it is. Take a listen.
We've heard years of the left, their loudest voices calling anyone on the right extremist MAGA Republicans, fascists, Nazis, an existential threat to democracy. Check yourself. And don't give me this both sides bullshit. Mr. Director, I want to ask you. Tell me if each one of the following perpetrators or alleged perpetrators were acting from a left-wing or right-wing political violence. The man who tried to kill Republican congressman at the congressional baseball practice, nearly killing House Majority Leader Steve Scalise. Left-wing or right-wing violence?
Sir, I believe it was a left-wing ideology.
Okay. Burned down cities during the Summer of Love in the George Floyd riots. Left-wing violence or right-wing violence?
Sir, I'll rely on you on these. I don't have off the top of my head. I'm sorry.
Okay. Left-wing. The Waukesha Christmas Parade massacre. Left-wing or right-wing violence? Left-wing. The Lee Zeldin stabbing attempt. Left-wing or right-wing? Left-wing. The Covenant school shooting in Nashville. Left-wing or right-wing? Left-wing. The Butler, Pennsylvania assassination attempt on President Trump. Left-wing or right-wing? Left-wing. The Trump International West Palm Beach assassination attempt. Left-wing. The Abundant Life Christian school shooting. Left-wing. The United Care CEO's murder. Left-wing. Tesla's burned, keyed, damaged, firebombed. Left-wing. Left-wing. The murders at the Israeli embassy, left-wing. The ICE facilities firebombed, left-wing. The Minnesota Catholic school shooting, left-wing. The anti-white Charlotte and North Carolina stabbing, left-wing. The attempted Utah News State firebombing, left-wing. And now, of course, the culmination of this vile trend, a left-wing assassination of Charlie Kirk. So don't give me this both sides. If we want to get to unity, let's be honest. Let's be honest. Free speech, yes. Political violence, no, but let's be honest.
Well, he's not wrong. And even the idea, by the way, too, this is another thing that the left has been harping on. Even the idea of the the Minnesota representative murders, they're talking about that guy being right wing. No, he's not. He's not completely right wing, but that by the same token, he's not left wing. The thing about it is that he's neither. And he even said it in his note to Kash Patel. He told Kash Patel, by the way, this is not political. I'm doing this on the orders of Tim Walz. So regardless of what you may think, he's definitely not right-wing. I've been telling people this isn't really that particular event wasn't political. Anyway. So, yeah, there you go. That's pretty much about it, folks. It was political. It wasn't political in nature. He was reportedly ordered to do it by Tim Walz. Now, do I honestly believe that Tim Walz ordered him to do it? No. Come on. Anybody who would be incredibly stupid to even suggest that, although it does need to be investigated just in case. But the reality of it is that I highly doubt that Tim Walz wanted, Amy Klobuchar killed or whatever. I mean, that's just the rantings of a deranged, mentally ill individual. But the fact of the matter is that this is ramping up more and more and more, and it's all showing to be left-wing violence. Now, YouGov did some polls. And part of the problem that we have today, of course, with a lot of the bullshit that's running around, and yes, I did say bullshit, running around on all of the, news outlets and the social medias and everything else, they're all talking about how Charlie Kirk was a, racist, he was a homophobe, Islamophobe, all kinds of other stuff. Well, YouGov did a poll, and I'm going to show you 3 different polls here from them, but the first one is asking the question, before Charlie Kirk's death, how familiar were you with Charlie Kirk? And here's part of the problem. We have, let's see, I'm going to do quick math here. Let's see, 49. So 53% of the country, or the respondents, 53% said that they were very familiar or somewhat familiar. Only half the country was familiar with him in any way, shape, or form before his death. It's the rest of the country that's the problem. 17% said that they weren't very familiar, and 26% said that they were not at all familiar. And yet I can almost guarantee you that bottom half of not familiar folks are the ones that are saying that Charlie Kirk was a bigot and a racist and a homophobe, Islamophobe, that he wanted to kill kids. Just to keep the rights of guns, which I already have blown that out of the water. As anybody else would if you listen to the entire conversation about it. Anyway, this one I'm actually not really surprised at, and this is very, very true. They hit this one on the head. YouGov poll, how united or divided is the country at present? Well, it literally is only 11% of the people think that the country is united or somewhat united. Everybody else is either somewhat divided, very divided, or 7% saying that they're not sure. So we do have a huge problem here. A huge problem in this country in terms of the division. And I am telling you that this has been going on for decades. I mean, this right now, the place that we are at right now is the culmination of decades worth of work. Decades worth of work by the leftist, Marxist, socialist, whatever other ists outside of capitalist that have been working on this country for decades to try and get it to destroy it from within. And here is part of the problem, okay? The majority of Americans say it's unacceptable to be happy about public figures' deaths. But there's only one problem. The younger and more liberal, meaning leftist Americans, are more likely to call it acceptable. So if your political ideology is very leftist, and yes, I'm specifically changing the terminology from liberal to leftist because your classic liberal is not what this is. 34% of the political ideology say that it's always or usually acceptable to be happy about public figures' deaths. But it's happy to be that. And if you're in the 18 to 44-year-old range, that makes 22% of leftists believe that it's okay, that it's okay, it's acceptable to be that way. A little bit farther down, it talks about most Americans across the political spectrum say political violence is never justified. But here, once again, younger and more leftist Americans are more than likely to disagree. If your political ideology is to the left, 42% of the respondents where their political ideology was to the left said that yes, violence can be justified. Can be justified. I mean, seriously? Seriously, 42% of you leftists seem to think that violence is justified in a political discussion or a political event. Violence is justified. This is why, folks, this is exactly why we have this problem in this country. And in terms of your age, if you're anywhere from 18 to 44, you're looking at 33% of that age group thinks that, yeah, political justice or political violence is justified. Folks, this is our problem. Now, I'm just going to point out to you, Marxism is relatively violent. They advocate for violent uprisings. And what do you think that the liberal left, especially in that age group, 18 to 44, has or is happening? They are being indoctrinated into the Marxist, socialist, communist ideology. That's what's happening. And in fact, our buddy over at CNN, and I'm saying our buddy just because, you know, yeah. Anyway, he's Harry Enton at CNN. Yeah, he's got some serious problems. Or, well, he has some serious numbers that also indicate these serious problems. Let's go ahead and go over there and take a listen to Harry Enton.
You know, I'm not really surprised that Kathy Hochul decided to, in fact, endorse R.M. Mandani, because the fact is, socialism is not a four-letter word in Democratic primaries, not among Democratic voters. It's a five-letter word in the minds of a lot of Democrats, that five-letter word being great. Look at this. Net popularity of socialism among Democrats. You go back to 2010, it was plus 7 points. Look how high it is now, up like a rocket, up to plus 36 points. That's a jump of nearly 30 points on the net popularity scale among Democrats in just 15 years. And I was looking at the polling from New York City, and what you see is the clear plurality of New York City Democrats think the idea of having a socialist mayor is a good idea, matching what we see nationally. The bottom line is socialism isn't a dirty word among Democrats at this particular point. It's actually a word that, when attached, Democrats seem to like it.
That is the problem. Socialism, Marxism, communism. In other words, the left and the Democrats, totalitarian ideologies. And you want to sit here and talk about like fascism, and they sit there and talk about how the right is fascist? No. No, the left, the Democrats, they're embracing fascist, totalitarian ideologies, whether it's socialism, communism, etc. This is the problem that we have in America today. This is one aspect of the entire problem in America. Well, there's another problem that we have in America. And that is the fact that we have groups of people that, let's just say, they're not as religiously accepting as most, if not all, Christian faiths. Yeah. Let me just show you. There's this one little area in Michigan. It's known as Dearborn, Michigan. And Dearborn, Michigan, and let me just tell you, this is... I've been there. And, yeah, let's just say that Dearborn, Michigan is not very welcoming to people of my religious beliefs. Here in Fox News, at a Dearborn City Council meeting last week, the mayor, who is a Muslim, told a local resident who is a Christian that he is not welcome in the city, after the gentleman raised concerns about new street signs honoring the Arab American news publisher Osama Siblani. Now, these signs honoring this guy were supposed to be placed, or were placed, I should say, at intersections within the city by Wayne County, but not the city of Dearborn. But the mayor escalated the debate by telling this gentleman, who was basically saying that, hey, I have some concerns about this, misguided in terms of where he was addressing his complaints. But he goes, although you live here, you're not welcome here. So here's the problem. Siblani is a promoter of Hezbollah and Hamas. And in his comments, the Christian resident, was quoting past remarks from him, saying that he talks about how the blood of martyrs irrigates the land of Palestine. And whether we are in Michigan or whether we are in Yemen, believe me, everyone should fight within his means. They will fight with stones, others will fight with guns, others fight with planes, drones, rockets. This is the journalist, quote unquote, that they were trying to celebrate by adding these street signs. So the Christian resident, compared the signs to naming a road Hezbollah Street or Hamas Street, calling them provocative, and stressed that as a Christian, he wanted to encourage peace. He closed by quoting Jesus saying, "Blessed are the peacemakers." The council members interjected, warning him against personal attacks and reminding him that the city had no control over the county's decision. One clarified the sign that was placed on Warren Avenue, which is a county road, and that was done by the Wayne County executive. But the complainant maintained that the issue mattered to Dearborn residents because the signs stood in their city. The mayor responded with remarks that shocked many in attendance. Quote, "The best suggestion I have for you is to not drive on Warren Avenue or close your eyes while you're doing it. His name is up there, and I spoke at a ceremony celebrating it because he's done a lot for this community." Folks, they're here. We've talked about, all kinds of things. These are the kinds of people who don't want to be assimilated into our society. They do not want to be assimilated. And in fact, the Quran and the Constitution are diametrically opposed to one another in terms of what they are attempting to accomplish. You can't have Sharia law and the Constitution at the same time. It doesn't function. Now, the mayor went further and accused the complainant as being a bigot and a racist and an Islamophobe before declaring, "Although you live here, I want you to know, as mayor, you are not welcome here. And the day you move out of the city will be the day that I launch a parade celebrating the fact that you moved out of this city." Yeah. I mean, no offense, but, well, I'm not going to say no offense because somebody's going to get offended anyway. But I don't know why anybody would even want to celebrate somebody who celebrates Hamas or Hezbollah, terrorist organizations. Yeah. In this piece, it states Dearborn is the city with the most highest percentage of Muslim population, has long navigated debate over cultural and political identity. For many average residents, the moment captured in City Hall begged the question of whether the elected officials are willing to listen to all voices or only to those they choose to celebrate. This is what we're moving forward, folks. Now, I'm not afraid, and I'm not necessarily going to say that all Muslims are this way. Okay? I'm not going to say that all Muslims are this way, but there is a significant factor when you're dealing with the Muslim population as to whether or not they are in the group to try and celebrate people who literally should be, just like the Charlie Kirk shooter, should be reviled. And you've seen that just in our own experience in this last week with all the leftists jumping on the bandwagon, celebrating the demise, the death, the assassination, the murder of Charlie Kirk. These same people would jump in with the Muslims who are sitting there saying that a Christian is not welcome in a country that was founded on religious freedom. And you sit here and try to tell me that these people are attempting to assimilate? No. They're not. They are showing by their actions that they are not attempting to assimilate. And it's these kinds of people who are not attempting to assimilate into American culture that are the ones that need to be deported. They need to get sent back to where they were. Don't come here and try to make your this here like there when you left there because you didn't like there, but now you're trying to make here be like there. And if you follow that, yeah. Anyway. Alrighty, folks, let me take a quick break here. Let's talk about Well, let's see. Who's got the biggest number here? Nope, nope, nope. All right. Looks like I'm going to do. All right. Every morning I wake up and I have a 16-ounce cup of coffee. It is my favorite cup that I have. It's a big cup. It says "Father like no other" on it. It was given to me. It was given to me by my children, my two wonderful children that I love. And every morning I fill it up with coffee. And if you still haven't tried 1775 coffee, now is your shot. The 1775 starter kit just dropped. There's a limited number of units available. In each starter kit, you're getting the bold dark roast that hits hard. You're getting to try the smooth medium roast, and you'll also try the Vitality Mushroom Coffee for clean energy and laser focus with no crash. This is so you can try all three and decide which one that you want to keep using moving forward, of course. But all of them, regardless, are single origin, small batch, toxin-free, and mold-free. Plus, you're also going to get my personal favorite, a gold spoon clip, because freedom isn't scooped with plastic. There is a frother included that is strong enough to stir up not only your coffee, but also your mother-in-law's opinions. And believe me, she is going to have opinions on just about everything. And chances are they're probably all going to be wrong. Anyway, you'll also receive a black 1775 tumbler as well. It's $170 worth of coffee and gear, yours for just $99. This is for the ones that have been watching 1775 coffee blow up on Rumble and wondering if it's actually worth it. Spoiler alert, it is. Go to 1775coffee.com/studio. And for those of you that don't know, that / is your question mark key on your keyboard. Go to 1775, that's numbers 1775 coffee.com/studio and grab your starter kit before they are gone. Bold beans, clean fuel, and a morning routine that stands for something just like Rumble does. Go to 1775coffee.com/studio and grab your starter kit today. All right. Well, hey, it's kind of amazing, but one of our illustrious and wonderful Supreme Court justices, well, no, she's actually an activist. But I'm going to tell you right now, she actually said something that I can kind of agree to. No, I'm not talking about Ketanji Brown Jackson. No, I'm not talking about Elena Kagan. I am talking about Justice Sotomayor. Here in the HuffPost. The HuffPost. I want to call it the Huffington Post, but I think it's just, I don't know if it's Huffington Post or just HuffPost. Anyway, doesn't matter. Sotomayor urges better civic education so people know the difference between presidents and kings. Yes, Sonia! My gosh, you actually got something right. I am shocked and amazed. Wow, yes! We've got to get better civic education so that people know the differences between presidents and kings. Like as in, we haven't had a king here since 1776. Although we came close with both Obama and frickin' Biden. Oh, wait a minute. That's not what she's talking about, though. She's talking about the king of what she believes is Donald Trump. Now, I'm just going to point out this. And I've said this on social media, and I'll hold it. The one president of the last three that has been the most constitutional, and by that I mean has followed the Constitution more than the other two, is none other than Donald Trump. Anyway, she was at a New York law school crowd yesterday, and she was questioning whether Americans understand the difference between a king and a president. I'm going to guess that about, 50% of the country, minimally, those who are Democrats, leftist, lunatic morons, yeah, they have no idea what the difference is between a king and a president. And I would say that she kind of falls into that same realm, along with her other two sisters, Ketanji Brown Jackson and Elena Kagan. Anyway, she told the crowd that improved civic education across the country would help people make better decisions. She was speaking at a panel discussion during Constitution and Citizenship Day Summit. And did not make comments that were overtly political. It did not address any particular controversies of the moment. And in fact, she even declined to mention President Trump. At one point, though, she did raise doubts about how many Americans are being taught about civics in schools. I guarantee you that the number of people who are being taught civics in schools is getting close to that big old goose egg of zero. Because if that were the case, if they were actually being taught civics, and by civics, I don't mean a bastardized version of civics, I mean real civics. Real civics. Okay? Like what the Constitution actually says, not the bull crap that the left keeps trying to tell you. Okay? Anyway, at one, like I was saying, at one point she raised doubts about this. She said, do we understand what the difference between a king and a president? And I think if people understood these things from the beginning, they would be more informed as to what would be important in a democracy in terms of what people can or shouldn't do, she said. Well, there's your first indicator right there. There's your first indicator right there. She doesn't even understand that the Constitution says that we are a Republican form of government. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, the teacher's glasses are going on here in the studio. Let me read to you. Article 4, Section 4 of the United States Constitution. Right here, it states, the United States shall guarantee to every state in this union a Republican form of government, and shall protect each of them against invasion, and on application of the legislature or of the executive, when the legislature cannot be convened, against domestic violence. Wow. Right there. Right there, folks. It says it right in our Constitution. The United States shall guarantee to every state in this union a Republican form of government. So all you stupid-ass Democrats who are sitting here, and especially you congressional pundits who are standing up and saying, we must save our democracy. We are not a democracy. We're not a freaking democracy, you dumbasses. You obviously have never read the Constitution. Oh, but hey, guess what? There's another couple of parts in here. One, in fact, that is applicable. Actually, both of them are applicable. To be honest, the first one being that the government, the United States government, shall protect each of the states from against invasion. What do you think that was, where we had, tens of millions of freaking illegal aliens coming in? What do you think that would be considered? That's an invasion, folks. That's an invasion. Oh, but here's one even better. Ooh, this one's gonna freak you leftist out. Ha ha! Guess what? It also says that the executive, when the legislature cannot be convened, or on application of the legislature, the United States government shall protect against domestic violence. Yeah, hey, I think that we got something here. Under Article 4, Section 4, United States Constitution, the United States government needs to protect each state against domestic violence. What do you think happened during the BLM riots? That was domestic violence, people. What do you think happens every time these idiots go out and riot? Well, that's domestic violence. I'm not, a complete genius. I'm smart, but I'm not a complete genius. At least I can read and, comprehend English. I don't think Sonia Sotomayor can. I don't think Sonia Sotomayor actually understands that she has no idea what the Constitution actually says, and she's sitting on the Supreme Court of the United States where she is supposed to render decisions based upon the constitutionality of laws that come across her desk, along with the other 8. Anyway. Yeah, on that panel, Sotomayor decried the lack of education about civics and how democracy works. Oh, what's worse is she actually even gave her version of Ben Franklin's famous anecdote, which, by the way, Ben Franklin has never been proven to have actually said this. It's tied to him, but nobody has ever actually definitively proven that he was the one who said this or that it was even said, to be honest. But she recalled that Franklin, again, attributing it to him, even though that chances are he never said it. She changed it a little bit. It said, "We have a republic, madam, if we can keep it." So she obviously, knows something about it. We're a republican, not a democracy. We're a republican form of government. Now, I do have to agree with her on this next point. She did say that social media is one of the largest causes of misinformation on the internet. I'm going to tell you that this right here, this show, this is my promise to you as my watchers and listeners. I promise to you that I will do everything within my power to make sure that everything that I am stating here in front of you is based on facts and evidence and is the truth. That's my job as the host and producer of this show. Anyway, she called for civics education to be required in law schools. Wait a minute, I thought civics education was in law schools. I mean, just about everything of our laws are wrapped around the idea of the Constitution itself. I mean, think about it. You have the 4th, the 5th, the 6th Amendment. Those are like primary amendments that are part of the rights that we have as citizens of this great country under the Constitution. You would think that those would be taught in law school. I mean, really. Yeah. I mean, this woman is just, she's trying to like balance and dance the line. I'm just pointing this out. But yeah. Oh, which Jarhead comes up with a really good. If anybody's interested, Jarhead 13 said high school kids should be able to easily pass the citizenship exam. I actually want to take that beyond high school kids. I think adults should be able to pass it too. I challenge myself anytime I see a link or a site or anything that says, hey, take this citizenship exam. PragerU's got a fantastic one. So does the Heritage Foundation, Heritage. You should go and, you should go and try to get any of these citizenship exams and see if you can pass them. Even take the practice citizenship exam from the United States government. Go and take that one. Which, by the way, segue, the Trump administration has now unveiled changes to its U.S. citizenship test. Yep. So the Trump administration is making changes to the U.S. citizenship test and will be re-implementing updates made to the test during the president's first term, which the Biden administration tossed to the side. I wonder why. It could be because they're into socialism, Marxism, communism, totalitarianism, fascism, and so on and so forth. Yeah, okay. Anyway, U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services announced Wednesday the changes to the naturalization civics test to better assess applicants' knowledge of U.S. history and government. You know, I'm going to challenge my Whiskey Warriors, I think. I think I'm going to challenge you guys. I know you guys are the smartest, most intelligent audience in the interwebs. Go and find it. Find the U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services practice exams. Take them. Don't worry about the score necessarily. I mean, you know, if you see that you miss a question or whatever, research that. Research. Find out why you got it wrong. Because honestly, that is how you learn. Now, the 2025 test is going to re-implement the 2020 naturalization civics test. Under the first Trump administration, the USCIS updated the 2008 version of the exam to further test an alien's knowledge of U.S. history and civics. The Biden administration reverted to the 2008 version of the test in 2021 because obviously they didn't want Trump to have, you know, Americanized the test. Anyway, the 2025 guide includes 128 possible questions. It's up from 100 possible questions in the 2008 version. Aliens are required to answer at least 12 out of 20 correctly to pass. The passing score remains the same between 2020 and the 2008 test. But for now, administrators of the test do not have to ask all 20 questions, but can stop once an alien answers 12 questions correctly or 9 questions incorrectly. USCIS spokesperson Matthew Tragresser said, American citizenship is the most sacred citizenship in the world and should only be reserved for aliens who fully embrace our values and principles as a nation. There you go. There you go. That is literally where we're supposed to be. He said, by ensuring only those aliens who meet all eligibility requirements, including the ability to read, write, and speak English and understand U.S. government and civics, are able to naturalize, the American people can be assured that those joining us as fellow citizens are fully assimilated and will contribute to America's greatness. Exactly. He says these critical changes are the first of many. So here's some of the questions. Oh, and look at this. If you click on the link, it was from Daily Signal. If you click on the link that I have in the show notes, it'll actually take you to the 2025 version of the 128 civics questions. There's the link right there. It's a PDF file. You know what? I'm gonna take this. I'm gonna take this offline. I'm gonna take this and come back, and you can actually download it too. So I'm gonna go ahead and download that. Let me go ahead and here. I'm just gonna. So there it is, and you can save it. I'm gonna go ahead and save it. Save it to my stuff. Well, there we go. I saved it, so I'm going to go through it. This is supposed to have 128 questions. This'll be fun. I encourage all of you to go ahead and download that. Go and do that. You know what? Here, let me put the link to the download. Let me copy this link. Boop. And let me stick it in the chat real quick here. So here's the link to download the PDF for the test. So there you go. Download the test. 128 answers. So it's an oral exam. It's given to aliens who have filed an application for naturalization. An alien has 2 opportunities to take the test. If they fail twice, their application is denied. In fiscal year of 2024, more than 94% of aliens pass the citizenship test. There you go. There you go. Yeah, we should do this. I'm serious. Just in celebration of Citizenship Day, just go and download that thing and go through it. Go through the civics exam. Now, here's part of the problem, of course, is that most Americans actually need to read the Constitution. So this article from the Heritage Foundation goes back to 2019. There were some polls that were done back in 2019 that demonstrated that just 49% of Americans polled say that the Supreme Court justices set aside personal and political views to rule based on the law and the facts of each case. I would tend to agree with that. I mean, other than a couple of them, in particular, Justice Clarence Thomas and Samuel Alito. Yeah. Anyway, now 48% of the people polled in this poll also say that the Supreme Court should be made less independent. Why would it be made less independent? That's the whole purpose of the Supreme Court, is for it to be completely independent. So, yeah. Now, here is something that's a bit scary. Here's something that's a bit scary. Back in 2019, again, in this article in the Heritage Foundation, or from the Heritage Foundation, a poll by Marquette University Law School found that a majority actually want the Supreme Court judges to treat the Constitution as a document whose meaning may have evolved over time. No. You don't do it that way. No. It is a document that says what it says and doesn't say what it doesn't say. I think it was Antonin Scalia that said that. You can't sit there and try and turn this and modify this into something that is warped over time. Yes, it is a living document. I will give you that because of Article 5, the ability to change it. It's not a document that is locked in time. But that only occurs when an amendment is added. So it's a quote-unquote living document in the fact that it can be changed It is also a living document that, as far as it goes, that we, the people, can modify it. But other than that, no, it says what it says and doesn't say what it doesn't say. Now, here's the thing. The Marquette poll at the time in 2019 showed that 57% of Americans haven't actually read the Constitution. Think about that. Almost 60% of America has not read the Constitution. The author of the piece also says that he took 2 courses in constitutional law in law school and was never required to read it. How can you take a course in constitutional law and not be told, read the Constitution? That just seems antithetical to the point of learning about Constitution. What the hell? You're taking a class on constitutional law and you don't read the foundational document that everything is built off of? What the hell kind of crap is that? Oh my gosh. Anyway, so the author here is saying that simply reading the Constitution will reveal a few things. Here's the couple of things that he says that it would reveal. Number one is that it's obvious that it's written down. Understanding what the authors meant is right there in their words. And I'll even go a step farther. You want to know what the authors meant? There's this wonderful thing that they did. They expounded upon their purposes in the Constitution by adding additional papers and context known as, wait for it, the Federalist Papers. Oh my gosh, they actually published articles in newspapers around the country explaining their reasoning for each and every part. Well, I won't say every single part because there are some that they figured were just, obvious. But they explained their reasoning on the vast majority of what was written in the Constitution. It's called the Federalist Papers. And by the way, there is this other wonderful works of written objections to the Constitution known as that somebody somewhere was smart enough to collect together and put in, called the Anti-Federalist Papers. So I'm simply just going to say, if you can read the Constitution, read the Federalist Papers, then read the Anti-Federalist Papers, or even better yet, go through the Federalist and the Anti-Federalist at the same time on the same topic. Do that as a part of your study, and you will find that you will come to understand the Constitution. Now, the author of this Heritage Foundation piece says, secondly, people will find that some things they thought were in the Constitution aren't there after all. And he's like, I don't mean just weird things such as thinking the First Amendment protects the right to own a pet, which he points out that 12% of Americans actually think that. But he also says that seriously misguided things such as the First Amendment supposedly creating a wall of separation between church and state. Now, that phraseology has been used multiple times by the left, who don't really understand the etymology of where that statement comes from. That phrase, wall of separation between church and state, comes from originally comes from a letter from Thomas Jefferson as he served as the third president of the United States. That letter was sent to a Baptist group, that was asking about the practice of their religion. And what he was attempting to do was assuage their fears by basically saying, yes, there is a wall of separation between church and state, but that actually isn't what the First Amendment actually says. The First Amendment doesn't actually say that. And the best way to describe the separation between government and the church is literally a one-way mirror. Once you understand the concepts that the founding fathers were attempting to get, or actually I should say the anti-federalists were attempting to get done in those first 10 amendments, because they're the ones that actually proposed them. Originally, the First Amendment, the first 10 amendments weren't even part of the original Constitution. And in fact, James Madison, who was the vastly majority author of the U.S. Constitution, he didn't actually believe that they were needed. But to satisfy the anti-federalists, they went ahead and added them. So that's why the first 10 amendments are altogether ratified at the exact same time, which was roughly about a year after the original Constitution's document was ratified. But anyway, so, by the way, the Pew Research Center, according to this piece, back to the piece in the Heritage Foundation, the Pew Research Center found that as people get older, people shift from saying the Constitution should be interpreted for what it means in current times to what it is meant as originally written. Now, I personally have consistently been of the same cloth, whether I was younger or whether I was now. The Constitution is the Constitution. It says what it says, and it doesn't say what it doesn't say. That's it. I am a strict constitutionalist, and I just recently put that tag on myself. But anyway, you know, so many people do not understand the Constitution. They don't understand what it means. And this other piece in the Daily Signal, it says, Happy Constitution Day, it's more than just a list of rights. He says, Americans who have never lived elsewhere may take for granted the constitutional protections we enjoy. But on this Constitution Day, Americans should understand that the U.S. Constitution is more than a list of rights like freedom of speech and due process. The Constitution framed and established a government that could be administered by men over men without an inherent tendency toward tyranny. And he goes on to describe that the Constitution vested the three branches of government, and at the same time, it obligated the government to control itself. James Madison discusses this in the Federalist 51. Do you see what I mean? You want to understand the Constitution? The founders, did this fantastic thing, and they discussed it outside of the Constitution, and we have those papers, and we can read them and understand them and digest them and turn them into something that would help us understand where their minds were when they put this damn thing together. See, the founders embedded ideas like checks and balances, separation of power, and the big one that seems to have been completely forgotten about, known as federalism. Federalism is basically the fact that the federal government is supposed to be small, limited, have very few interactions, and that the states and the people withhold and hold all of the power on their side. That the Constitution itself is the framework Think of it as a cage. It is the cage that envelops and encapsulates the federal government into specific things that the federal government can do, and also lists what the federal government cannot do, which is where your first 10 amendments come from. See, the first 10 amendments, if you ever read them, the first 10 are the only ones that basically outline, hey, federal government, you cannot touch these. The federal government cannot do anything inside those first 10. And in fact, the 9th and 10th amendments remind the federal government, hey, you need to understand, what we have given you does not enumerate all of the powers and rights that the people have. That the powers that are not given to you by this document, this is the 10th, the powers given to you by this document, nor if it is not enumerated in here as being something specifically that is denied to the states, will always belong to the states or to the people, respectively. See, people don't understand the Constitution is a cage. It is a cage that everybody needs to understand. This is very small, very enumerated things that the federal government can do. And a long list of things that realistically they can't. There's a lot more to this, and I want to get to it, but I also want to get to a fantastic submission of Where's Whiskey. Well, anyway, so yeah. So the founders, by the way, didn't actually know or have a clear model of the ideal government to follow, but they actually did understand that they did not want a totalitarian government. They did not want a pure democracy either. Which is why Article 4, Section 4 exists. They wanted to make sure, they were saying, hey, you know what, democracy, man, that falls down, or that really falls down when you get a majority rule. That doesn't work very well. That doesn't work very well. We need to, make sure that we avoid that majority rule. Because the Republic actually emphasizes individualism. The Republic actually emphasizes the fact that individual rights trump the rights of the masses. Meaning that the government or the majority can't come to you and steal, for an example, your bike, or steal your cow, or your bull, just because you happen to have them. See, that's what Marxism, socialism, communism does. A Republican form of government protects the individual and their rights over all others. I want to give a shout out to Coco D, insert name here. She just said that her husband has finally agreed to start a Hillsdale course on the Constitution with her. Fantastic. And when you're done with that one, go to the free one that the Institute on the Constitution has. Do both. Because I'm sure you'll learn a little bit from each. But that is fantastic. Anyway. All right, folks, let's see. So one last thing, just to let everybody know, this was breaking news earlier. The Federal Reserve has decided to cut interest rates 1/4 point. They have done, this is the first time in 2025 that they've done it. And so, yeah, our interest rates are going to drop a little bit. They feel as though the economy, or at least the jobs and stuff, are sort of squishy, you know, kind of being a little squishy and squirrely. So it's about time, and they feel as though inflation is at least, while it's not where it should be at 2%, it's at least under control. So there you go. All right. Okay, let's go ahead and get on. Now, I don't have a nice little flashy, you know, stinger or whatever for this, so you'll just have to deal with me. But let's go ahead and go to Where's Whiskey. So for tonight, Coco, the insert name here, has sent me this this wonderful Where's Whiskey episode, so or segment. So let me go ahead and tell you. Apparently they went to the Rob Roy Reservoir in the Medicine Bow National Forest over the weekend, and she spotted me in a way, and also some other beautiful things. So let's go ahead and take a look at that. Let me get this up. There I am. There's me. I'm hanging out in the trees. Gotta like that. And by the way, that tree there, that I think is a pine tree. Excuse me. I think that's a pine tree. Anyway, there I am with Coco. I'm hanging out with Coco. Yeah, there we go. And what's even cooler is she's wearing the American Perspective shirt. She's got the long sleeve version. I got the short sleeve version of it on here. Thank you for that. Bless you. So there she is. There's Coco with her wonderful, fantastic hat. And I'm wearing the same one that I'm wearing right now, but she has the patch because she's a Whiskey Warrior original P1. She is part of the OG group. Oh my gosh, here's a moose. There's a moose. It's a moose. You know, they come to the north of Washington sometimes out of Canada, and we haven't seen one live. So I haven't seen one live, but my wife is fascinated by moose. Mrs. Whiskey loves moose. She loves mooses. In fact, we went on a vacation, and she went on a vacation, and we went over to Eastern Washington up by the Canadian border, and she would get up every morning and she'd call from the deck. She'd be like, "Here, moosey, 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 moosey." Yeah, I made fun of her. Yeah. Mrs. Whiskey says hi, by the way. She's trying to get into the studio. Anyway, she says hi. Sit. Look, Coco saw a moose. Yeah. Sadness. There's sadness.
Where's Coco at again?
She's in Montana.
Okay, we're going to Montana.
Oh, I guess we're coming to you, Coco. Anyway, here it is again. Here's another moose out in the middle of the field. Or maybe it's the same moose. I don't know. But anyway. Oh, 3 Chevy says hi, by the way.
Hi.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, it's just all right. Anyway, let's see what else is there. Oh, there it is again. There's another moose. Whoa. Well, that thing looks big. Oh, and there I am. I'm back on the tree. I'm just hanging out in the wild. All right, folks. Oh, thank you for that submission. That is just fantastic. I do appreciate that. Oh, no, I'm sorry. I said Montana. She's actually in Wyoming. She's in Wyoming. Oh, she says it's a good thing I didn't press purchase for the plane tickets. Anyway, all right, she's in Wyoming. Yeah, we might have to. I may have to do like a round trip. I really have talked about this a lot. I really would love to do like a round trip.
There has to be moose.
Oh, so here's the challenge. If we go, okay, there has to be a moose. So Coco de insert name here, I'm just going to tell you right now that if you have a visit from the whiskey and wife, you definitely need to find us a moose. All right. Oh, okay. Anyway. All right, folks, that's it for me for this evening. Do me a favor. If you haven't already, head on over to rumble.com. Get yourself an account. It is free. And once you are signed up and signed in, make sure that you search up the American Perspective channel and hit that green follow button to get notified every time I go live. Also, too, don't forget to hit those thumbs up or thumbs downs across all my platforms, whether it's X, YouTube, Facebook, and, of course, the aforementioned Rumble. We will see you tomorrow night, 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, right here on American Perspective. Have a great rest of your evening, and happy Constitution Day. And good night, everybody.